serial innovator is intensely curious about everything, right? And this is really one key trait that sets innovators apart from the rest of us. I think as adults what happens is we tend to become creatures of habit, right? And sometimes we shut down our curiosity a little bit. But the serial innovator is constantly looking for new places to explore and new discoveries to be made. Often what happens is we impose certain boundaries on ourselves. We go to a familiar restaurant and we take the same seat at the table that we always take. And so this sort of natural tendency of humans can sometimes be counterproductive when it comes to discovery. So it's worth sort of being aware of how you might be making choices sort of unconsciously where you are treading on a familiar path. The real voyage of discovery is not in seeing new landscapes, but seeing with new eyes. And what we will do this afternoon, the first part of our ideation is we're going to look at our innovation challenges, and we will have to, sitting here in this room, think about these challenges and the reasons for them, and have to see with new eyes the challenge before us. I like to think of the innovation challenge process as a process of opening doors, because in a way, rather than leaving you in a problem state, which can sometimes feel very heavy and a little bit depressing, we push you forward into more of a possibility space where doors start to open and perhaps even ideas may start to flow. Innovators too have no restraint. Sometimes they appear to be so obsessed about something that in fact they can pour many, many hours into a particular task. And the reason is this passion is really a driving purpose. That innovators are attempting to do something significant. It's almost obsessive, and it comes from this drive where they want to solve a particular problem or to generate something new in a particular category. You know, it's not about fame and fortune. Of course, sometimes fame and fortune also does follow, but really the underlying sort of driving force behind them is a passion. We get a natural motivation when we attempt to solve a creative problem. And that natural motivation then becomes, in a way, sort of dissipated when we add into the mix a financial incentive, right? So the reward of creatively solving something is enough reward in itself. We don't need any bonuses or any extra money for it. CEO, are you listening? The challenge with innovation is as we sort of go from a seedling of ideas all the way through to attempting to implement, is there are many hurdles in the road, right? And in fact, there you could plot the sort of emotional curve. You start the task, you think, I'm not sure about this, you're a bit flat, somebody throws an idea out, and the energy rises, and before you know, the ideas are sort of popping out from all over, right? Now, when it comes to then implementing that idea, we go backwards again. We go, oh dear, I hadn't realized how complicated this. Oh dear, I didn't realize we didn't have the resourcing, or this doesn't meet our timing. And so the energy dips again. It helps if you are driven by a driving purpose, because in fact, sometimes the stumbling blocks along the way can seem insurmountable. What innovators do, just like 5-year-olds, is they ask many, many more questions than non-innovators, right? They ask simple questions like why? Why do we do things the way we do them? You know, Disney asked the question, why does a cruise liner need to have a casino? And it was in asking that question that they were able to then generate a solution that fitted the Disney values. Another question that innovators ask, they say, well, why not? Well, why can't we do that? Sometimes we have a lot more choices than we realize, and in fact we can try things and experiment a little. And so I urge you to sort of explore why we can't do things another way. The third question that innovators asked is the how might we? The thing about the how might we part of the question is it suggests how we can make things better. It suggests how we can make things more fun, make them simpler. And so what it does is it directs you towards need areas. How might we make this more convenient? How might we make it more enjoyable, more fun, more exciting, and so forth? Then finally, what innovators do is they ask the what-if question. And what-if is simply saying, I have this idea in my mind, it's not really well formulated, but what if we did something else? What would that mean for us? What would we need to do in order to make that happen? So these 4 questions are really 4 questions I urge you to take on board and ask them next time you're reviewing a particular project or plan, and ask, have we asked the questions why? Do we know why not, and how might we? And what if we did something else? Albert Einstein, good old Albert Einstein, he said if I had 60 minutes to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes defining it and 5 minutes solving it. Wow. I think what we tend to do is we rush into a problem and we think about solutions, right? Because, why? We live in a culture that values answers, don't we? We go to school, and school is all about saying, what's the answer? And I'm going to reward you for that. We seem to lose this ability to ask sort of open-ended questions that we don't know the answer to, right? Somehow the school experience does this to us. You know, while we gain a whole lot of other good stuff at school, it also seems to sort of bash out a whole lot of other really important things, like creativity, and also this question culture, which we need to engage in. Peter Drucker, the management consultant, says, the important and difficult job is never to find the right answers. It is to find the right question. Ask yourself in your business division, or perhaps even within your innovation themes that you're sitting in today, what is the question that we need to formulate so that we are closer to solving our problem? So how do you make sure you have that kind of inspiration in front of you? Well, Edison said, to invent, you need a good imagination and a pile of junk. And so I would suggest to you to go and collect some junk. And that junk can simply be new experiences, read widely, watch films. I always tell people, watch television, because you are going to get experiences that you wouldn't necessarily have had in your life. Think of inspiration not just as this random, nice-to-have thing, but to think of it also as a discipline. Kent Bowen, the founding scientist of CPS Technologies, when he started his business, he hung this sign in every office in their company, which is that the insights required to solve many of our most challenging problems come from outside our industry and scientific field. He wanted to remind his people that sitting at their desks was not where they were necessarily going to be finding ideas, and that they needed to get out there and look and see what are other people doing in other fields. They happen to be in this area of ceramic composites, which I don't know a lot about, but they knew that the answers did not lie in that sort of micro field. The answers lay somewhere else.